So this is a little GoPro Nugget, the Hero 7, and it looks the same. For me, this is a major upgrade because I skipped 5 and 6, and I used the 4 silver forever and a day, and I still use it. But I think now it's time for an upgrade, and so this thing just might fit the bill. I'm just recording on the GoPro. Internal microphone. There's a slight breeze, so I'm not sure if we're picking up any of that. And it's just drizzling a little bit, so just a really light rain. So anyway, I'm recording at 2.7K, and this is set at linear and 24 frames per second, and just walking down the street, and this is what it looks like. So while I'm walking to lunch, let's try all the different modes, shall we? Might as well. I mean, we got nothing better to do. I just have to cross the street safely. But anyway, let's play with some modes. Okay, now we're on Superview. Why did they call this Superview? It should have been called Super Wide because it's wider. Now, we're still supposed to be able to record Hypersmooth, so I'm hoping that that's going on. And we're at 24p. Now, the reason why we're at 24p is because Superview is not in the menu at 60p. So, kind of a bummer there. So it has to be at 30p or 24p, I guess. But anyway, let's try another setting. Okay, this is 1080p at 120 frames per second with the linear kind of normal looking mode back on. Still just using GoPro audio. It's raining. This is actually kind of nice. These options that they have that I've listed for you so far were available at every resolution, but they're just not. I mean, I can understand the frames per second thing. Yeah, definitely, but nothing else. That's just kind of a bummer. But at 120p at 1080 linear, you can still get some sort of slow-mo type stuff. This is 720 at 240, and realistically, if you were to try to stream live video from your GoPro, you can only do this, I think, at like 24 frames per second at 720, so not really so good. So let's switch it over to 24 frames per second so you can see what that's like. Okay, so at 720, it turns out you can only go down to 60 frames per second. You can't go any lower than that. But I was able to turn on linear. At 240 frames per second, we were still stuck at wide. So, yeah, that's kind of a bummer. I mean, I'm trying to show you guys each option you get with each setting. And it seems like linear only works up to 2.7K. 4K, you can use wide or super wide. And if you have software that can fix the fisheye effect, you can go that route, technically. But for me, I was just kind of looking at this as more of a blogging camera, just something that I could get information out there right away, like really quick. Still got to figure out the whole audio quality thing, and this always seems to be like it's just an endless problem with my channel. You know, I wanted to start doing something simpler, going to my phone. Yeah, too much of a hassle because people keep calling me, and if you're using the gimbal apps, then all of a sudden there's all kinds of problems. But this is what the road noise is like. You can see I'm walking on a busy street, kind of noisy traffic, but this is 2.7K, 60 frames per second, and this is what I'm normally going to use this at. So this is where I'm hoping that I'll actually get the best kind of quality that I'm looking for. I just don't know about the audio. And on this street right now, it's actually really busy. I mean, there's people walking. Cars driving by everywhere. I'm coming up on some gardeners. Guy using a weed eater, so we'll see how well you guys can still hear me as I walk past that. How's it going? So he's just over here cutting away. But anyway, almost to my destination. He was actually nice enough to stop cutting for me while I walked by. So anyway, we're almost there and my phone's ringing. So just in case you're wondering if I have any accessories with this right now, I do have a it's not really a selfie stick, but it's just kind of an extension arm with some fold out feet from the Vimble. I just kind of stuck that on the bottom and figured this is going to be good enough. So next goal is some lunch, because I'm dying. I need something to eat. But battery life so far is the same as every other GoPro. And just so you know, this actually uses the Hero 5 and 6 battery. It's the same. So no improvements there. But anyway, let's go get some food. Do they do like a half soup, half sandwich thing?
No, they don't.
Shoot. Okay. Thanks, man. I came down here to eat healthy, and now I'm eating macaroni and cheese and chow. So I have a lot in common with just about every 6-year-old on the planet. So Sprouts macaroni and cheese is actually pretty good. The only two things that would make this better is a straw and bacon. That didn't suck, so let's try some hyperlapse. Doing a hyperlapse through Sprouts, but their macaroni and cheese is worth it. It's actually pretty good, and I think you'll find that most 6-year-olds will agree with me. Definitely the lunch of champions. So anyway, let's do some more hyperlapse stuff. Now, the one thing that I can tell you about hyperlapse right off the bat that I'm discovering is you can't do the linear side of it, which is kind of a bummer. It's pretty much just stuck to that kind of fisheye view, so you have to, you know, do a fisheye removal or something, removing the distortion in the video later on. But anyway, let's try it again, because I have no idea how any of this stuff is coming out, and I won't actually know until I edit it, but love to hear your opinions. So anyway, let's do this. So this is what it's like using the GoPro Hero 7. It has a touch screen, and it's not as sensitive as I would like it to be. It seems like I have to double and triple touch stuff to get it to work. But when I do, everything seems to work. Now it will tell you what you can and can't do. So we have hypersmooth stabilization at 2.7K at 60 frames per second. The second that we try to change that to 120, we get all of our warnings. So there's a lot of modes where things don't work. So it's easiest to just show you this on the app. But overall, the back screen, the way it actually looks when you're seeing what you're looking at is really pretty good. Now the thing that I find frustrating about this is when I turn the camera on, and this is, see now, sensitivity bug. When I turn the camera on, oh dang it. All right, let me change this back to, I like that linear view. So I need to go back to 60, go back, and now I can go into wide, wide, and then go back to linear. And it will tell you what modes you can and can't do in most situations. And so from here, now I'm ready to go. Except it's still showing me wide, and I know I just changed it to linear, so it doesn't always seem to hold your settings, which kind of drives me a little crazy. So I want linear. Now we got linear. Now we can go back. And now we're linear. Definitely linear. So that's kind of a few bugs with the Hero itself. The other thing I discovered is if you turn this thing off, so let me just go ahead and power it off. If you don't hold it down long enough, you get that. So quick hits on the power button change you through timer, photo, and video. And actually swiping this thing does the same thing. So I don't know why they have that in two places. I don't think it needs to be there. But anyway, if you turn this thing off, you have to hold the power button for a while. And then if you hit the shutter button, then let me show you on here, you're recording. And it says you're recording, but the touchscreen doesn't work at all. Can't bring anything up. So if you stop recording, it just goes back off again. Nope, this time it didn't. This time nope, there it is, just went off. So that's one of the weird things about it. Why are you able to hit the shutter button and start recording, and then it just shuts right off? Now, I'm sure they designed it this way for a reason. I just don't know what that reason is. I think it's actually kind of annoying. So you got an HDMI port and a USB port, and the USB port has changed from the old one. So I have a USB mic that I was able to use with my old GoPro, cannot use it with this. I'm sure there's probably another adapter out there, but not a big deal. The other thing that has changed is how the memory card goes in there from the old version. It's now next to the battery, and the battery just pulls out. All right, let's talk about the app really quick. This is actually where I had the majority of my issues, and this is where it connects. And right after I turned the camera on, at its default settings, I tried to record, and it actually froze. And so I had to pull the battery out, stick it back in, power it up, tried to record again. It recorded 2 more clips and then froze again. I downloaded the app, and then after I did that, it told me, after it connected to the camera, that there was a firmware update or a software update that I needed to do. So I went ahead, updated the software, and mostly everything worked. Now, the biggest problem was Wi-Fi kept connecting and disconnecting on my phone like bonkers, and I couldn't figure out what the hell the issue was. What you need to know about your phone is that you need to have Bluetooth enabled, because Bluetooth powers the camera on and off. And then Wi-Fi, you definitely have to have that enabled, of course. And I didn't see, there's a setting in the GoPro for switching it between 5 and 2.4 gigahertz networks. I didn't see a difference between the two at all. But what I did notice was that I had Wi-Fi calling enabled on my phone, and that was causing me all the problems that I was having. So what I'd say that you do is disable Wi-Fi calling before you use the app with your phone. So anyway, really quick, just to show you what the app's like, here's the camera on. This is a live view of what's going on right here. And look at the lag time that we've got here. And it's about, I would say, a good quarter of a second behind. It's not exactly the fastest thing that I've actually seen. Now, one thing that drives me nuts about the app, it is very easy to use, and you can go in and it has this laundry list of how to set everything up in here. This is cool. I wish it worked more like this on the camera itself. So let's go into the camera. And one thing you'll notice is if I drag this all the way to the bottom and go down here to audio, so it says audio Pro Tune medium. Over here it says raw audio medium. Now this screwed with me for a little while, and I went in and went back and forth and discovered raw audio on here is Pro Tune, audio Pro Tune on here. And I'm not really big on the whole quick editor thing. I tried to use it a couple of times, and it's just not for me. You know, if you live on your phone and you don't own a laptop, then yeah, you pretty much have to use it. And you can probably dial it in to where you can get to use it pretty quick. But I prefer to edit on my computer, so I just don't even screw with that. I turned it off. And you can turn it off somewhere down here. Now the other thing I want to add to this is when I first connected the camera to my phone, my Wi-Fi signal to the camera was like nothing, and it said move your camera closer, and I was like, how close do I need to move it to get that thing to work? What I discovered was because the Wi-Fi calling was still there, I had to reboot my phone, and once I rebooted my phone, then I got a killer signal. So keep that in mind if you have any issues, because I don't think GoPro is thinking about do people call over Wi-Fi, because that does actually make a mess out of things. So if you saw my cell phone gimbal review, you'll notice that, well, I have a little bit of light on me, and that's my Sokani video light. It's kind of funny. I put this in a sandwich bag, and it seems to be working, so I'm just gonna take a photo for you guys so you can actually see how funny this looks. But anyway, it does seem to actually work, and right now it's raining, so I can actually just blog in the rain, and this seems like a setup that's actually going to work. You can see that, you know, the GoPro in low light hasn't changed much. It still has kind of the same noise issues. And I don't think it's a different sensor either. I think it's probably still the same sensor. And to be honest with you, these are really cell phone sensors. So when you look at this photo of my cat that I shot earlier in the day, this is in overcast light in my living room with just ambient light. And there's a lot of noise in it, and you know, you can see that it does a lot to try to clean it up, but not a very good job, like most cell phones. That it just looks like a cell phone photo. But on the video side, the video itself, I think, actually looks pretty good. And the thing that's crazy is that hyper stabilization. Holy crap! Now, a couple of weeks ago, I did some gimbal reviews. And the one thing that I noticed about all the gimbals that I've reviewed is if you don't walk smoothly and gently enough and try to keep this medium step where you're walking super smooth, then your video gets choppy. And that's what's annoying. Now, with Hypersmooth, I can walk around normally and I can jar myself into the ground and it still looks smooth. And, you know, just me walking down the street and being able to go at my own pace and not worry about what was going on with the camera was actually really nice. And I think it did a phenomenal job as far as that goes. The only thing that drove me crazy was not having this new linear look that they've added to it in other modes. So I wish I could have used that in 4K, for example. But realistically, you know, I mean, you can correct it if you really need to in post, but overall the audio is improved dramatically, and I think the audio is now really good. Stabilization, phenomenal, but the app still needs some work. So I would totally recommend this thing though, and I'm definitely going to keep using it because I really like being able to run and gun and do short video clips when I can and get decent quality out of it, and I think I'm getting decent quality with this. So anyway, I hope you guys like this review. Leave me a comment, links are in the description, and give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you guys later. See ya.